Everyone. My name is Neil Thrussell, and I'm really excited to have woken Denise up out of a slumber this morning to join us. It's 3 a.m. in the UK, and all is good.
Good morning.
That wasn't very nice of me. I cut Denise off. I'd like to welcome Denise from the wilds of the UK. Thank you for getting up at some unearthly hour to be part of the Uplift show.
Thank you so much for having me here at this ungodly hour of the morning. It's so good to meet you, Neil.
It's wonderful. So if you notice, it's only Denise and I today. Sarah is fighting some kind of pestilence. So, and she texted me a couple hours ago and said, Neil, I'm not going to make it. And Sarah is, her word is her law. So for her to not be here and because she's ill is, I know that she's really ill. It's not because she has a better offer, because she loves the Uplift show. So Sarah, when you watch the replay, you're missed. And my name is Neil Thrussell, coming to you from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I'm an author, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a life coach, and more importantly, right now, I am the currently only host with a wonderful guest, Denise Mortimer from High Performance Coaching. Welcome, Denise.
Good morning, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Hi, Neil. Good to have you. Good to have you here.
It's wonderful. So what drew you to be a coach?
I was born this way. As Lady Gaga says, I was born this way. I've got a mosquito in my office, so I'm going to be going like this until I get rid of it. I'll try my best. I was kind of born this way, Neil. I've always been, I think it's kind of like inbred in us. And then we go and get qualifications and we find out that whatever we do in life, we're coaching people. So then it's like the universe messages, hey, why don't you become a coach? Why don't you do this on a regular basis?
So before you decided to be a coach, was there some kind of stream that led you, or you alluded to that you've helped people, but was coaching your first at bat or first on at the cricket wicket, or was there some other part of you that you were doing first before you went, no, coaching really is it?
I did lots of other things first. I've only had my business for the last 5 years, and I think coaching's really only been a thing for the last sort of 20 years or so, because it was never really something people did, like, intimate, like life coaching. So I was told when I was a kid to, get a job. So I got a job. And then coaching, as it started to evolve, I was like, people can make a living doing this, and I could be one of those people.
So when we originally, Sarah was talking about bringing you on the show, which I'm really excited that she did. She called you a positive hypnotherapist, positive psychologist. Were you always this ray of sunshine and positivity, or was it just something that you evolved into or worked into?
Well, thank you for calling me a ray of positivity. If that, I'm trying to think what your exact word was, but I think that I've always had naturally a positive disposition, but we get conditioned when we're children. We get conditioned into being certain ways and doubting ourselves. And I was one of those too, who was full of doubt. And then so there was two parts of it. There was the ray of sunshine, the natural part of me, the natural exuberant part of me, and then the part of me that was playing the role of, hang on, you're not supposed to behave like that because you're not good enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not whatever enough, all the conditioning things. So I think my natural nature is to be bright and bubbly, but I've had to what's the word I want to use, but like recover from my demons, like put them to bed, not even recover from them, but face them and deal with them and put them to bed so that I could sort of show up in my life being who I really want to be. And I think it's ongoing work. It's not something that we do once and then we're better and we're ready to move on.
What? I was only going to do this one time. So you're in the UK, but you don't have a UK accent. Where was home originally?
So well detected, Neil. So home was originally Long Island, New York, and 37 years ago, I uprooted from New York and I moved to the UK. I was supposed to be traveling to the UK for a period of 6 months, and it's turned into 37 years. I'm still determining if I'm going to stay for a while.
You're just holding out all the options.
Exactly. I don't want to commit too much.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. So was it a man or a relationship that got you to stay?
Yeah, so I came over and I traveled around for a little bit, and then I had an opportunity. Well, I met someone, and I had just finished college over in New York, and I was like, what have I got to lose? So I came over, and then, well, 6 months later, we got married because I couldn't keep coming and going. The UK wasn't going to keep me coming and going, so we got married on a bit of a whim. But that's that was a couple of husbands ago now.
Who's keeping track?
Exactly, Neil. Who is keeping track?
And and as I have found part of my journey is when whatever my pains and troubles and sorrows are, I find being able to laugh and smile as part of my healing journey, as part of my ability to get over and to deal with it. Is that part of your healing journey?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. So let's see, 12, maybe 13 years ago, I was reading a magazine called Psychologies, and I saw a notice in the back of it to do a short course in positive psychology. And I was like, what is this thing called positive psychology? And I ended up doing a master's degree in positive psychology and recognizing that, the psychology as we know it deals with people getting to normal from being abnormal behavior, but positive psychology was about people thriving. And I started thinking, wow, I've always been like this, that my natural inclination is towards thriving. And then there was a whole science behind it as well, so it like validated what naturally felt like the things that I would naturally do anyway, like, okay, when everything seems to be falling apart, express gratitude, or just laugh at things that seem so dire and so dismal that you're like, what else can I do now? So suddenly there was an academic study behind the kind of things I was doing naturally. And then of course there's more to positive psychology as well, but it was great to feel like, oh, okay, there's actually a science to this. There's something behind this.
I can so relate to those words, because at times I felt, because I easily can move through things by maintaining a positive attitude. Doesn't mean that I don't feel the pain, I don't feel the hurt.
Yeah, yes.
But and I feel them, but I move in my judgment and observation is because I have a positive natural propensity. I move through these things quicker. I'm very I've had some horrific things happen in my life, but I don't wallow in them. So I think there's such a huge piece, which is why our show is called The Uplift. Because
Awesome. Yes. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree anymore. And it comes, I think, you like me, I'm going to turn the tables on you for a second, that your energy, because we're all just energy, aren't we? Your energy is really, really positive, really high vibration. So it's really great to meet you, because I can feel the kindred spirit there.
yeah, it's wonderful. And we'll get to another part that you're breaking records and getting really good traction on. But let's a little later in our show we'll say TikTok. But we'll right now it's like, what are some of the things that you do? Because we all have bad days or low energy days. My vice is the only one is I'm addicted to caffeine. So I have a caffeine addiction. I love coffee. I love the taste of it. I love the smell of it. So coffee is a vice that I have. And I know it. What helps you in the times when your energy is low and you may be in a little bit of a funk?
I think sometimes it's just accepting that it's okay, because we can't be up all the time. You have to experience the highs and the lows. You wouldn't know that a high was a high unless you had a low to compare it to. And it's the natural cycle of life that we have ups and downs, but it's noticing. I've got my mosquito joining me again. So it's about noticing. Exactly. I'm gonna look like the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Try and get this mosquito out of the way. It's this, and this is where emotional intelligence comes in, because it's about recognizing that if you've been affected by something and you've allowed it, like, instead of saying this person made me mad, accepting, like, I've chosen to be angry, I've chosen to be mad in response to this, and then thinking, is there another way to be? Have I misinterpreted this? How else could this be? What else could this mean? So giving yourself permission to work through what could be the issue, or being like, actually, no, this feels really justified. This feels like this has been an injustice. This feels like it's a wrongdoing, and not taking it personally. So it's all part of the evolution. I think I answered that.
Yeah.
While I was worried about my mosquito coming at me.
I love that you touched on it. It's part of our evolution. We don't know how deeply we can love till we lose it. We go back to our youth and our childhood, that first boyfriend, that first someone that broke up with us and dumped us. The true tragedy and the depth of despair that everyone that has had someone leave, break up with it, has felt that the very first time. The inhuman heartbreaking. And as we've aged, it's terrible till we lose someone that we love, a parent, a child or something. It's through that I believe, helps us deepen our love.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, absolutely. We learn about ourselves, like, we do learn about ourselves in the high times, but it's in the dark times that we think, how do we get through this? How do we move on from this? How do we pick ourselves back up again? And that's when we grow the most, when we're in the thick of the darkest moments, that we learn so much, which is where, practices come in, like, meditation has become like a huge part of my life in the last few years as well. I don't know. Are you a keen meditator at all, Neil?
Yes, but I usually run as a meditation.
Yes. Yeah. No, I hear you. I used to run as meditation, but then my feet started playing up, so I can't run anymore. So now I cycle. So I get not the same.
We are kindred spirits. We are kindred spirits, because I'm right there with you now too.
Well, with the running, yeah. So I've had to move to cycling, and I don't love cycling as much as I loved running, but I'm just delighted that I can still keep my body moving, and keeping your body moving, meditation, keeping your body moving. If you can combine them into the same thing, fantastic. So yeah, I agree that movement, that rhythmic movement of the running or the cycling becomes a meditative process in itself. And it's an opportunity to process thoughts. I used to get some of my best thoughts while I was out running. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get myself like a recorder. I'm going to get myself a dictaphone to record my great ideas, because by the time I'd get home, I would forget about my brilliant idea. And then when I took the dictaphone with me, I'm like, no ideas are coming. I'm not getting any great ideas through.
So I know in part of our write-up that Sarah wrote about you, she talked about subconscious blocks, that you went from burnout to having these breakthroughs. So let's talk about, what are subconscious blocks?
That is a great question. Thank you, Neil. And it's so funny when you're in the industry, obviously you talk the jargon of the industry and thinking other people get it. And I think I appreciate the question, just for clarity of anyone listening, that a subconscious block is when it starts with the evolution of our brain from childhood, when we experience things for the first time, and they get locked in our system. And when you look at the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton, Candace Pert, that emotions are not just held in our mind, emotions are held in our body. And so when you experience a significant emotional event as a child, so let's use a negative significant emotional event, or it could be a series of events. So it could be something that happens as a one-off or on a chronic basis. And you then have a high emotional trigger that's locked into your cells. That becomes a trauma, and it becomes a database of information, the only information that you could feed back into the world. It's like creating a recipe, like it's creating a recipe, like making a cake, and you want a chocolate cake, but you don't put anything that has chocolate in it. You can't, when you put that cake in the oven, if you've not put chocolate in it and it comes out the other end all baked, it's not going to be a chocolate cake because there's no chocolate in it. It's the same with your mind. If it's not gone in your mind, it can't come out at the other end. So when we have these negative things that have happened, they show up in our life. They end up showing up in our life. It's like, you incubate that over years and it just keeps showing up in your life. So it's a subconscious block is when you've got a negative energy that is stored in your system that's showing up in your behavior, because your subconscious mind is operating up to 98% of your life. It's the driving force in your life. So we think, we look like adults, we're in adults' bodies, but we're like 7-year-old kids driving the show, because all of the things, all of the, the negative things that have been ingrained into our psyche and our bodies become our behaviors. So the subconscious block is something that's been locked into our body from childhood that we're now expressing as adults, but we don't know we're doing it because it's subconscious. So we just do it and we think it's normal, but it ends up affecting so many parts of our life.
As a coaching question for many people, I like to ask, what's the age of the voice that's driving this? What is the age of the person that is in charge? What are you feeling? How old are you feeling when you have this going on? Because as you said, that it is usually something very young in our life that is driving us.
Yeah, and it would be up to 7 years old, but I'll tell you something in just a moment. I've had clients who've gone back to past lives during a session to remove the blocks. But it would be between birth and 12 years old, typically, where you'll find that people have experienced something for the first time, and then that's become the blueprint for how they continue to behave. So, but as I said, I've had a client or two go back to a previous life, and I'm like, whoa, this is cool. This is really interesting.
Absolutely. As an NLP practitioner, neuro-linguistic programming, we use it as a tool is to understand that yes, energies from past lives can hold you back, because as you had said in the beginning, we're all just made up of energy, and
Yes, yeah.
where that energy is collected and gathered in us could be from our past.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, and that's been a fun challenge for me, because when I trained to, I mean, I've done my master's in NLP, but then I added another layer to that by doing a whole level of a hypnotic process to go even further back and to understand how to connect with people with these blocks. But we hadn't looked at past lives. So then when I was presented with a client who went back to a previous life, I was just like, it gave me an opportunity to go, okay, now manage this as elegantly as you can possibly manage it. And it was fascinating. It was incredible to have that experience, to just be like, okay, I wasn't taught this, but I can create something out of this. I can find out where this needs to go. So it was quite incredible.
And to any of our listeners or our viewers that may be going, that's poppycock, hold on to that. That's okay. That's your belief, and that's your lesson in life. All I ask is you to be open to it, and don't say no. Just be open to that. What we're talking about is a possibility that there is. So just be open and do your own research, and eventually you'll see it our way. No.
But isn't it incredible world where someone can have such an opposing view? Because personally, I feel like when we get so immersed in our world, and even looking at like social media, our social media algorithms tend to be a representative of our consciousness, right? It's like we focus on something and then it shows up in our social media. So your whole world is biased based on what you're paying attention to. So suddenly when you have someone who's completely outside of that, my experience, like even now, I consider myself quite what's the word I'm looking for? I'm quite a person who is quite open and sees lots of other perspectives, but I realize that my world is biased because I surround myself with the books I want to read, the people that I love, and I tend to lock everything out. And then when someone comes in, I'm like, oh my God, like what planet is this person from? There's someone who sees things so very differently from me, because my whole world is saturated with all the things that I love, all the people I love. And then you realize, wow, there's life on other planets. There are people who see things so very different from me.
And as the social media aspect, I had a friend leave his phone out, and he's happily married, but he's not very gift orientated and very for the 5 love languages, gifts are not even anywhere near it. So he will forget his anniversary and that. Well, I knew his anniversary was in a couple weeks, and he left his phone out. So I went on to Amazon and I searched anniversary presents and all of the. So that's all he saw for the next couple of weeks on his Facebook feed was gifts. So he's like, he phoned me a couple of days after all this. He goes, "Thanks, Neil."
Yeah, and so he knew exactly what to get. Yeah, those algorithms, they get you every time.
Yeah. So Sarah recently had said that you'd been doing some TikTok work, and all of a sudden you've got a little bit of success on it, and you've started to. So tell us the story. Tell our listeners and our viewers that, because we all started 0 views, we all started 0 followers, and so how and what have you used besides positivity to create your following and your followers?
TikTok's been really fun. Like I feel like I've built my business primarily on Facebook over the last 5 years, and then I was part of someone's program, and there was a masterclass on TikTok, and I thought, oh, I don't know anything about TikTok. I had an account, but I had put like 5 videos up, and I was really excited that I think one of my videos had like, I don't know, 85 views or something. I was like, wow, wow, someone's like 85 people have watched my video. And I started my account in 2020, and I didn't really know what to do with it. And then when I did this masterclass on TikTok, it just completely blew me away. I'm like, oh my God, this seems like so much fun. Like just short videos, like videos between 15 seconds, 1 minute, or 3 minutes. Like those are your options. They're like, I'm like, wow, could I condense like, 25 years of studying personal development into a 3-minute video? And so that almost became the challenge. And then I thought, oh, this is awesome, because it's just like taking bite-sized chunks of your information. It's literally like just like this. It's like dispensing. It's like, you put money in a vending machine and you dispense one thing, one item at a time. And that's what TikTok, it's like you can dispense one golden nugget of information at a time. So you don't need to like express everything. You can just go and talk about one particular thing. So I just started using it as like a playground, like a virtual playground. And people seem to really connect with my virtual playground. And when we have the most fun, I think we have the most impact, and I've just been having so much fun on there. So I grew from, and it's funny because the algorithm there is funny. It almost like gaslights you, this algorithm. You're like, 1 week I got like 7,000 new followers. And so I'm like, yes, I'm on this high. I'm like, yes, this is so cool. I love this, because you can't help but get excited when people are loving your content, consuming your content. And then the next week, I'm still churning out what I think is really good content. And there's no fault. It's like this nosedive, like nobody's, and I'm like, what have I done wrong, TikTok? What? Where are my people? And then it picks up again. And it's like, oh, now I'm in favor again. So it's a funny algorithm. It's up and down, up and down. I feel like it's messing with my emotions now.
Well, and just as a whole, I think what you said is perfect about TikTok, that it needs to be fun. It's your playground.
Well, see, the whole thing is I thought it was meant to be, my impression of TikTok is like, first I was like, okay, it's 12-year-old kids dancing. Is there really a place for, a serious business owner to be on there? Not that I'm a serious business owner, but I'm a fun business owner. But is there a place for serious content on there? And so the education that I got as part of this masterclass is that, it is one of the biggest growing platforms. It's taking, in fact, the other platforms like Facebook and Instagram are following the lead of whatever TikTok is doing. And, YouTube has even got like all these shorts on there, like these shorter videos. And I hadn't realized it, but they're coming from TikTok and going on there. Now I've realized that so many things that are currently showing up in social media are influenced by TikTok. So TikTok really is like, it's like TikTok is like the Gary V of social media. Like, TikTok speaks and everybody listens and then follows whatever's happening on TikTok.
And it was years ago that Gary V said, get off of Periscope, get onto TikTok, get off all of these. And yeah, he had been. So those that don't know, that are tuning into our show or listening via replay, look up Gary V, trust us. But he is a little bit, says that the profanity is a little bit, to some people he doesn't like, but go and research him. And he's an interesting fellow. He's probably one of the best on social media right now.
Yeah, and he has been, and he still is the voice of influence. When he speaks, people respond, and that's, as I said, that's exactly what TikTok. TikTok is the influencer of influencers on social media at this. And if you don't even need to believe it, you just go on there and you see it. But what I wanted to say as well is that, it's not about kids dancing. Like you can find, so, in the early days, so TikTok originated in 2016, but didn't get any traction until the pandemic hit and places, kids were home. Kids were at home 24/7 with their parents. So TikTok became a child's playground, became the virtual playground for children. But as we've come out of the pandemic, people started using it in different ways. And there is some amazing content on there. There are people that you can get lost. Have you spent much time on there, Neil? Have you spent time on there? Yeah, because you can get completely consumed. You end up just going through people's all of their content because it's so good. There's psychologists and doctors. There's like medical consultants. There's all sorts of people on there creating super valuable content that is just it's so you can get lost in it forever.
Absolutely. So sometimes we lose people at about halfway because they've only got so much time. So before people run off, I want to give the opportunity and share that you have this frequency of wealth. What is the frequency of wealth, Denise?
Well, the frequency of wealth is unique to each individual, but this audio recording is an opportunity for people to connect with what their frequency of wealth is. It's not like it's one frequency we all get on. It's personal to the individual. But this audio, it's a 15-minute audio, and it's an opportunity for people to connect with that higher level frequency, being that we're all energy, and that energy emotions vibrate at different levels, and the low level emotions like guilt, shame, fear, despair, they're low level things, and they're going to keep you in low vibration. You're going to call more of those things into your life. But if you want the frequency of wealth, it's a much higher frequency. Money's a fun high frequency. So this is an opportunity to tap into the frequency of wealth. And I had a woman write to me the other day from TikTok. She got it from TikTok. And she said she sent me a whole sort of list of all these incredible things that have been showing up in her life since she's been doing the frequency of wealth audio. So it works.
Wonderful. And I love that you use the frequency. I had one of my teachers and mentors say that we're just like radios, and we tune in to a frequency, and it could be shame, guilt, all of the lower frequencies. And until we make a change internally, we won't move up the dial. So we need to make the changes and shifts. So just like a radio, we can turn the dial and we can go up on the scale of frequency. And as we move up, our frequencies change, and then we get the frequency of wealth.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so true. And we are like radios. We broadcast out certain things, and we can only ever get back what we put out. So when people wonder why they just keep getting the same outcomes, and we'll talk about that in a moment as well, because there's often a mismatch, a disconnect between what we say with our mouths and what frequency we're emitting. So people will say, I want to earn a lot of money, but they're running subconscious patterns from childhood that they don't know they're running, that's making sure that they stay broke, that they stay not earning enough, they stay working too hard, because we're just living out our childhood patterns. That's what we do until we change it. So frequency of wealth is an opportunity to tap into that. It's a free gift for anyone who would like to experience that. So there's the link there to grab the frequency of wealth and to check if they can indeed themselves enhance their frequency just by listening. They don't need to do nothing else, just listen.
And that's the cool thing with there's so many positive tools out there, whether it be an audiobook, whether it be a podcast, whether it be this show and the Uplift, just by listening to it, and more than once, it will raise your frequency. That's the coolest part.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it comes back to this idea that, we are the sum of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So, what are you doing with your life? Who do you spend time with? Are you spending time with people who destroy your dreams, or are you spending time with people who believe in your dreams? And which is just another interesting point as well, because the people who love you most might not be the people who are supporting your dreams the most, because every single person is only coming to you from the top of what they believe is possible. So when someone's saying, "Oh, you can't do that, you can't do that," they're only telling you the projection of what their reality is. And as much as they may love us, it's not always true, because we can move beyond. We don't know our potential because it's limitless.
And that in itself can be motivating. It can be terrifying, and it can be motivating. That most self-made people have to move beyond where they started from. So they have to let go. Maybe we won't say friendships, but they have to let go of their past so they can move into their next evolution, their next evolution of who they are and who they want to be and who they're striving to become. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing, but when we look at it from a place of positivity, we can't get to the top of the mountain if we're sitting at the base. We have to take one step at a time and keep moving up that mountain. And sometimes not everyone is going to join us on our trek.
And that's so true. And one of our basic human needs is that need to belong somewhere. And so the challenge becomes, do people have to make a decision, because they may lose people along the way, but the risk is that, well, if I take this next step, if I take a step into the unknown, if I leave the tribe, if I leave the community, am I going to be on my own, or am I going to find my people? So it becomes the easier option, the comfort zone, is to stay where you are, to stay and just be one of there's that analogy about the bucket of crabs, that one crab's trying to climb out and the rest are all pulling him down. And it's whether you let yourself be pulled back down, or you go like, no, I'm going for it.
And from my personal evolution, what I have found is that every big major step that I have taken, I have found a new tribe.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But it's trusting. It is that level of trusting the process, trusting that, I believe when we're little, we're not often encouraged to think for ourselves. Like we end up being molded and conditioned into thinking and behaving like the rest of the tribe. So then when we do think outside of that, it becomes a challenge of, wow, if I just stay like everybody else, nobody gets hurt. But if I start thinking for myself and thinking in different ways, I'm putting everything at risk. And if I put everything at risk, is there anything and anybody else on the other side of this?
Absolutely. And that's scary. Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements, talks in the Four Agreements books that our beliefs are given to us. They were shaped by our community. So, and our social structure, the country we're born in, the people we hang out with, our family, our spiritual beliefs, were all gifted to us at a very young age. And it's only the brave that choose to challenge the status quo and the beliefs that are given to them that can break free. And it can take a tremendous amount of courage. And I encourage you to look at your beliefs, because when you do, you can choose to still believe those, and that's empowering, or you can choose to let them go and find your own belief.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned Don Miguel Ruiz as well, because one of my all-time favorite books is The Four Agreements. But I got to tell you something about The Four Agreements. But I would encourage anyone who has not come across The Four Agreements, even if you just Google Four Agreements and you read a little paragraph about what each agreement is, it's life-changing. It's so life-changing. But I got to tell you what upset me about Four Agreements. He then came out with the fifth agreement. And I was like, hang on, there's only 4. There's only 4. You never told us there was a 5th agreement. So I have boycotted. I have just resisted learning the 5th agreement. I'm like, no, there's only 4. We only need 4.
Yeah. And my personal belief is, I don't even remember what the 5th agreement is. For me personally, it didn't strike as true, and this is my story, as the 4. I understood how he wrote it because I have the book, but as you can tell, that it's just not stuck with me.
Yeah, when I recommend books to my clients and to friends, I only ever recommend the 4 agreements. I never go, find out what that 5th one is. Yeah. I never bought the book. I'm like, hang on, you sold me out, Dom. There was only 4.
And no, I read it and I wanted to know what it was.
I'm gonna have to even refresh my memory because I can't even remember. But the 4 agreements is phenomenal. And what I would encourage your listeners is, if you choose one of the agreements and live by that for a week, your life is going to change. Your life is going to change in so many ways. Just choose. You don't even need to choose all 4. Just one is going to be life changing. It's such an incredible book. So sorry, Dom, I didn't mean to put you down on your 5th agreement, but the 4 agreements are just amazing.
And I'm there with you. I agree. Like, so it's good. And I love, yeah, because we can only really juggle so many balls at one time. So just picking one of the 4 agreements, as Denise said, is life changing, is life enhancing, life affirming, and yeah, it's a beautiful process. And I encourage you to truly embrace it, live it, no matter if it seems difficult in the moment. Live it, try it, breathe it, embody it, and see where your life is.
Yeah, and everyone can take on a new thing. I'll share with you something interesting. The same lady, when I was talking about who went back to a past life as part of one of our processes, also during this hypnotic process, people have an opportunity to identify all the ways that they've been negatively impacted in childhood, and then they have an opportunity to let go of all those things. And it's quite a profound moment during a hypnotic process. And so when I said to this lady, are you ready to let this all go now? She actually said to me, I don't know. Normally the answer is just, a resounding yes, I'm ready to let go of all this now. I said, are you ready to let go? She said, I don't know. She said, I don't know who I would be without all of these beliefs. And so I said to her, well, what if you were to give them up for just a week? Would you be willing to give them up for just a week? And she said, yes, I would. And so when we checked back in a week, she said, no, I don't want them back now. She said, I just didn't know what life was going to be like without them, but now I know. So I don't want them back now, which I thought was amazing. And same thing with the 4 agreements. You could probably try it for a week. Do it for a week. You have nothing to lose by trying one for a week. So whatever you want it to be, don't make assumptions. Don't take things personally. Always speak good words. Don't take things. I forgot what the other one was. I forgot what anyway, look up 4 agreements and live by one. That's the advice here today.
And I love what you said, that you have nothing to lose, but yet you have everything to gain. Everything to gain.
Yeah.
And you also touched on a really big issue, is that some people, like you, and you had stressed it enough, that sometimes we identify with our problem so much that we don't know who we would be without that issue, without that, whatever it is, that's that block in our life that we can't identify, because we have identified as, I'm not smart, I'm not pretty, I'm and when we take that belief away and remove it, people can lose touch of who they think they are, and they're really afraid of what they could become.
Yeah. Yes, because then it recalibrates their whole life, because if they're not, say in your family tree, if you're the youngest one in the family and you've always been treated as the one who's incompetent, who can't think for themselves, everybody does things for them, and then suddenly you step into a different place of personal power, they're like, well, how am I going to fit into my family if I'm all like, how am I gonna even communicate with my family if I don't play the role of the youngest one who can't do anything for themselves?
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's beautiful. Thank you. With the divorce rate so prevalent right now, that blended families. So right now you're the baby of the family, and then you blend it to another family. You're no longer the baby. You could be the middle child, and now
Yes,
in a
yeah.
family, and now your identity is all messed up.
You got to recalibrate. You got to figure it all out. Who would we be without try for a week and find out? Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure. Can you see who is our Facebook user? Is Sarah here with us watching now?
I don't know. I don't know who's posted. Like that's why sometimes I'm over here. So this is just
starting around. Whoever Facebook user is, I'm only seeing it as Facebook user, but it's wonderful to have you here. And I wonder if it's Sarah, and Sarah sending you lots of healing vibes, Sarah.
Excellent. Yeah. So yeah, it's this belief of when we believe something so fervently, and then all of a sudden it's taken away, as in using your word, it's the recalibration can knock us for a loop.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so then what do we do when we're knocked for a loop? Bring in positive words, read positive, uplifting songs, uplifting videos. Go to TikTok, find the positive ones, find your favorite ones. Listen to change the frequency.
Yeah,
change the frequency as well.
Everything you've just said is old ways to change your frequency as well. Change your energy, shift that energy, move your body, dance, just move. And there's something about just trusting the process, Neil. Like we're all going through stuff. Every single person has got stuff going on in their life that even no matter how good social media may look on social media, there's always something hidden beneath the surface that needs addressing. So I think we need to treat each other a little bit more kindly. And when we're seeing people on social media bragging about how good it is, even the bragging itself is evidence that there needs to be some healing done. Because why would you feel the need to be so full of, look at me, if there wasn't some sort of a needy child in there with some unmet needs?
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful segue in itself for the uplift. We all, I believe, as a world, as a society, as your town, your family, whatever community you're in, we all need to be, because there's so many things going on right now, we need to be kinder and gentler to each other. We need it, not me, doesn't need to be about me. It needs to be about we. Don't lose the me in it, but remember that collectively we are a we, a whole bunch of me's making the we.
Yeah, absolutely. And also recognizing, I think one of the most important things is to recognize that whatever we believe about the world, like if this comes back to 𝗚𝗏𝗄𝐻 again, it's like, if you think I'm an idiot, or if you think I'm the best thing that ever happened to this planet, it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with me. It's an outward projection of what's going on in you. And when you know this, you're completely like immune, and you can only see that people need to be healed rather than hated. you know, that there's something in them that needs to be healed.
Absolutely. And I hunted on Facebook, and this wonderful comment comes from Lorna Gale, who was on our show twice already. She's a wonderful somatic healer, a sexologist. Just a beautiful heart soul. So thank you, Lorna, for joining us today.
Thank you, Lorna.
Oh my gosh, we're at 50 minutes. That means in another 15, 20 minutes, you can go back to sleep. No, it's almost 4 in the morning where you are.
Yeah, it's 10 to 4 in the morning right now. And yeah, I probably will go back for a few more hours sleep before the sun comes up.
I truly, yeah. So we've just had a wonderful, is there anything that you would like to touch upon that you just feel called to share with us?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. What I would say is, if someone is listening to this and they're thinking, I want to start a journey of self-discovery, I want to start understanding myself better, because that's the greatest gift you can give yourself, is to learn about yourself, to explore the things that trigger you, the things that upset you. If you don't know where to start, one of the best places to start is going to be going onto YouTube, and just start, when you start searching for how to be happier, how to live a better quality life, how to change your frequency. If you just put a few things in a search in YouTube, you'll just find a plethora of resources, and then the algorithm will just feed you even more and more and more. And you can also just trust that whatever shows up for you is something to pay attention to. So once you get that algorithm going, pay attention to what's showing up. Take on what makes sense to you. Give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to reinvent yourself any moment, any day. Whoever you were, if you were someone different at the beginning of listening to this show and you've learned something, you have permission to change and evolve into the next level of growth. When you have new information, you have permission to change immediately. You no longer have to be the person you were before you gained new knowledge.
And that in itself, that's beautiful, because yes, you can let go of who you were 20 seconds ago. And all I do is ask you is to give yourself permission to let it go. If it doesn't serve you, if anything that we've said tonight doesn't serve you, just let it go.
Yeah.
But just feel into it, see if it's truthful for you. And if it's not, then let it go. It'll be truthful. It'll be serve other people. And I'm going to say it with a little bit of ego to it. And eventually you'll come around and you'll see it our way. Because there are universal truths and small t's and big small truths and big truths. And your evolution is entirely in your hands. And if you're going to be the pilot, be in a plane that can take you places. Fly as high as you want and as low as you want. Be in a submarine if you want. Explore wherever you feel comfortable in exploring.
Yeah, and I also feel compelled to share at the moment as well that there was a time in my coaching where I wanted people to change more than people wanted to change, like right, and I've accepted that everyone in their own time, and we can't accelerate someone's growth, and we can't slow down someone's growth. We can only be part of the journey and just allow them to unfold as they're meant to unfold. I've given up wanting something for someone, seeing what's possible for them, because their soul has its own journey that it needs to live out and come to its own conclusions at the exact right time for them. So know wherever you are in your journey, you don't need to judge yourself compared to anyone else. Just allow things to unfold. I think allowing and trusting the process is a huge gift we can give ourselves, that we can, because then we get caught in comparison-itis. I want to be as good. I want to be as knowledgeable. I want to be as highly evolved. How about if you just allow yourself to be who you are and let the rest just reveal itself, and you can trust that you're like the river. It's just river's going to continue to flow. You'll continue to flow without pushing and forcing things to happen. There's a natural way things will open up and reveal themselves for you.
That's beautiful. And it's a beautiful segue, because normally at the very end, I ask for people to share just some last minute thoughts. And that was beautiful. That will make a wonderful soundbite. And I would just love to leave our viewers, our listeners, with a little bit. But before I do that, I want to thank you, Denise, for getting up at 3 a.m. to join us, and some wonderful content. I truly appreciate you, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for there could have been far better things or different things you could have chosen to do than to be up at 3 a.m. So thank you. And
thank you.
For those that are just before you run away and get on with your lives tonight, just know this, that you are loved, you are appreciated, and we want to honor and support you on your journey. And with that, have a great night or morning, whatever it is when you're listening to.